Hello, fabulous friends and fans. Welcome to your Saturn special horoscope covering Saturn's move into the sign of Sagittarius at the very end of 2014 for the better part of the next 3 years. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. Saturn moving into a new sign does suggest that all of us in some way are going to understand that our most important learning is going to come if we pay attention to the lessons that we are being called to, if we pay attention, if we act practical, and if we put in the time to gain tangible results. Saturn, ultimately, it is my belief, and a lot of astrologers out there do believe, that Saturn is reward. Saturn needn't be difficult. Even though he gets a pretty bad rap, Saturn is saying manifest and honor the fact that we are incarnated. Honor the physical plane. And this is going to be a big lesson for all of us in some way. Saturn, as he moves to the sign of Sagittarius, will be speaking with Jupiter and Neptune and Uranus as well. All of this does speak to this call to be honest with ourselves, to put in the time, and to practically manifest, to move beyond what might be a dream, even a pipe dream, and actually do the work so that we gain something very valuable in the process, self-respect, which is ultimately what Saturn is truly about. Now, I have created a special video to look at Saturn, how Saturn moving into Sagittarius is going to speak to us collectively. But this video is, of course, for your sign. I thank you so much for being here. And I thank all of you out there who've been requesting these videos for months. Thank you so much for your trust in my interpretation of the sky. It will be a great transit. I do believe that. And it will be a great move as Saturn moves through the sign of Sagittarius. Enjoy. Hello, fabulous Pisces. Thank you for being here. Well, we've got Saturn moving into a new part of the sky, and this part of the sky for you has to do with what it is that you believe you're meant to do. It has to do with life purpose. It has to do with achievement and accomplishment. It has to do with you looking at how high you want to go in this world and what you're willing to do to get there, and actually then doing the work. This has to do with your relationship to your understanding of what goals are worth achieving, and then your worthiness to actually achieve those things. But this also has to do with an appreciation that you are on a path that you like. You're on a path of being an authority figure, and you are actually now doing work that on some level feels fulfilling and is giving you a sense of direction, and also to a certain extent a sense of yourself as well. You know, there's a certain type of self-respect that comes from having a goal and then seeing it through to manifestation. That's the higher spiritual lesson when Saturn moves through this part of the sky once Saturn changes sign. And these are issues, or rather, these are areas of life that are going to be calling your attention for the better part of the next 3 years. So, the last 3 years, since late 2012, it's been about you thinking about vision. It's been about you exposing yourself to different ways of looking at the world, different ideas as well, different philosophical orientations. Now it's about you taking all that you've done, the credentials you've put into place, and now having them pay off. This tends to be a time of reward as well. And this also tends to be a time when you realize how much you gain from doing something that you're actually proud of. And so this can and usually does manifest in the context of career, in the context of work for a lot of people. This is a time when you say to yourself, you know what, I have certain career goals. There's certain things I want to do. I want to feel that feeling that comes from success, and actually committing to that process and seeing it through. And as a result, seeing tremendous successes. And you will certainly see some wonderful successes coming up for you in the later part of this journey, especially once we get you to the end of 2016, and in particular in 2017, when Career accomplishment will be matched by financial gain as well. The two are going to blend together really nicely, and really, if there's any sign out there that could see a leap in terms of your financial status, like really going from one income bracket to a whole other, as a result of your achievements, as a result of climbing the ladder, as a result of career success, it certainly is you. So there's that one part of it. But for others, this tends to, or in addition to career part of it, this can take on and does take on a larger sense in terms of your life purpose, in terms of thinking about what it is that you're actually doing here. So since late 2012, as Saturn moved through the sign, or as Saturn moved through the sign of Scorpio, we had you going on a journey where you were figuring out your place in the world and what you believe about it. Now it's about actually implementing it. All of that new experiences, all of that consideration. Now it's about actually saying, okay, you know what? I've been exposed to the information, the ideas. I had the vision. I've put things into place. Now it is a time for me to actually walk that path. There's a clarity that comes now as to what it is that you're actually doing here in this lifetime and what direction you're going in. Now, the early part of this journey of Saturn through the sign of Sagittarius, for all of us, is going to ask us in some way to look at our doubts, to look at where we're wasting energy, and in particular also to raise compassion and to practice forgiveness. So there's an element here of you looking at disappointments of the past, of what has been, and these are really going to reach right into the heart of you. I do think that a lot of Pisces out there are going to be asking yourselves that, oh wow, that really disappointed me. Why? What did I believe about myself that led to that not working out? I went for a thing, it didn't work. What does it say about me? Well, it doesn't really say anything about you, or at least it doesn't have to. What it is saying is strengthen your faith. You are going to be led on sort of a tweaking journey, especially in the early part of this cycle. So in the first 2 years, it is you sort of figuring out what works and, importantly, what doesn't work as well for you. And while I do think that there are going to be some of you out there who maybe might have felt a little bit scattered, might have felt like, you know, I do really like this, but I think I also want to do this, and might have felt a little bit like you were hoping for some clearer direction in terms of your work as well. This is going to be a time when, while in the early part, it might not feel so clear at first. You may want that, but then you're dealing with disappointments. Actually, what you're doing is you're gaining a lot of experiences, and you're coming to understand exactly what your unique path is going to be. And as a result of the experiences you gain in the first part of the cycle, you will gain tremendously in the later part of this cycle. In fact, I think that 2017 is going to be one of those years that really stands out for you, where you made some lasting career progress. And for some of you, there may be a measure of fame, there may be a measure of renown, certainly a measure of reward, and there is a support there in terms of the financial part of it, where it isn't just that you get the accolades for the sake of the applause, but that you actually are able to increase your level of prosperity as a result of the gains that you make. As I said, that there's an element here of you looking at what didn't work. There's also an element here of you saying, wow, I've been going after this thing, but this doesn't really feel right. This isn't really what I'm going for. It's like you need to have that understanding on a level of spirit. And also you need to have the understanding deep within you that the things that don't work oftentimes are not meant to work. The places that you aren't oftentimes are where you're not supposed to be. Now, I will be honest, there is an element here. I do think that some Pisceans out there, especially in the early part of this journey, are likely to find one career path end as part of the universe opening up a whole other career path that ends up being much more lucrative and much more rewarding. So don't get caught in any disappointment that might be there for a small percentage of you. If you lose a job, you are not meant to be there. If you feel like you're banging your head against a wall trying to make something happen, then maybe you need to change strategies a little bit. There's this saying, stop chasing, start attracting. Well, how do you work without chasing, right? That's going to be part of the higher spiritual lesson that's going to be asking for your attention. How do you have a goal and stay committed and see it through to fruition while recognizing that some goals just don't feel right or are not manifesting with an ease? How do you recognize a challenge that inspires you to be more and do more and accomplish more, and a challenge that's telling you that this path just isn't the road you're meant to be on? So this is going to be part of the sacred learning for you in this coming period as Saturn moves to the very top of your chart. It's not just going to manifest in terms of your career, but also in terms of life purpose, in terms of you understanding just what you're going for in this life and clarifying that. And you will find yourself, especially in the later part of the cycle, people are going to be saying to you, wow, you really are on your path. You really have found what you're supposed to be doing with your life, whether that's career or otherwise. You really have tapped into something. This is something that people are going to be saying to you. You really have tapped into something. You're really good at what you do. Wow, you're the expert. And with that, you likely are going to get some opportunities to demonstrate yourself as an authority figure as well. As I said, in the later part of the cycle, there's also an element here of reward and renown. So whatever goals you feel are worth pursuing and feel right, those are it's certainly possible that you gain tremendously, but not without a period of some trial and error, not without a period of having to question yourself. I'm reminded, and I would encourage you to there was this huge bestseller called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho a few years back, quite a few years back. It's been around for a long time, certainly. And everybody gains something different from reading this book. But essentially what happens in this book is that he has a dream, and I won't give away any spoilers or anything, but maybe I am giving away. So there's a bit of a spoiler alert here. I got to in order to illustrate this. But essentially he has a dream. And as soon as he starts pursuing it, the universe rewards him right away. And he gains positively. The universe shows him you're on the right path because he has that sort of beginner's luck. But then things start getting hard on his way there. And the reason that they get hard is because it is about him facing those challenges and becoming who it is that he's meant to become. It's not about the achievement of the thing, as he figures out at the end. It's not about the achievement of the thing. It's about who you become in the process. It's about the people you meet along the way. It's about the experiences. It is about the gains that you make that are not necessarily tangible. When Saturn is in this part of the sky, it does look like you may be one of those people who has a measure of beginner's luck. But just be open to the fact that not every disappointment is bad. Not every challenge is wrong. In fact, sometimes it is those very challenges that can inform you where the greater successes are. And that's actually what ends up happening in the book as well. And so be open to that, because you have a lot to see and a lot to share and a lot to understand about your place in the world. And there's a tremendous amount of self-respect that is going to come through this journey. But it is going to involve your cultivation of faith. And that's going to hit right to the heart of you. When those doubts come, it is going to involve you sitting with yourself and saying, is this doubt my spirit telling me that I'm not on the path I'm supposed to be? Or is this doubt because I'm afraid? That's going to be part of the sacred learning for you as well. And all of this ultimately is going to shift your identity. It's going to shift the way you understand yourself, and it's going to help you move in a direction where you see yourself as somebody who is inspired and inspiring, someone who has a faith that is unshakable, plugged into source, and someone who actually has achieved something that you truly can be proud of from your heart and from the inside out. Well, thank you so much for watching this Saturn special Pisces, it'll be a great journey over the coming 3 years as Saturn moves through the sign of Sagittarius. Enjoy.